much truth there is to that, but I'm going to go with it and roll with the punches as long as I think it's connected. I will jibber jabber for a minute. Um, I try to make a video every day for the 100-day magical challenge, but part of the challenge is being on the road in transit. Just checking the hall, guys, here, make sure nothing weird's going on here in the hotel. I've got a few minutes alone, which is a rare opportunity while you're on the road. So, of the 100-day magical challenge, I've been traveling, sojourning in the northeastern area of Jungdo and Dalian. And so it's been extra challenging being on the road to connect with Wi-Fi and make daily videos and so on and so forth. So I'm just bemoaning all of the challenges that come along with the magical challenge. So yeah, part of that definitely is when you start a challenge like the 100-day magical challenge, the first thing that's going to happen is your tea party is going to be upended, right? Your boat is going to be flipped over. That'll be one of the first challenges with magic. And the spirits really want to test your resolve right in the beginning to see if you're cut out for it, if you've got what it takes to make magic happen. And so hey, Monsieur Tidrik's out there in Happy Land. You're a very busy man. Good to see you're doing okay. Yes, I'm well. I'm well. The magical challenge is going well, and magic is really starting to. The synchronicities with the magical challenge is part of it. So the synchronicities are really firing now. All of the coincidences are knocking off one after another. But I was just talking about the first few days of it are always the most challenging because you've made up your resolve to do something every day for a given period of time. And the first thing that's going to happen is the cosmos will throw a monkey wrench at you. And so that's what happened in the first few days. Unintended, unscheduled trip came up, and we got on the road, and we've been on the road the entire time through the magical challenge. So, going to various hotels, seeing historic sites. It's given me the opportunity to research a town in China that I've wanted to research for a long time because there are a lot of older Tartarian structures here. So I'm right in the middle of it. You guys have probably been keeping up with a little bit of it with some of the videos, but it's been to the point where I've only been able to upload shorts and I haven't been able to do good live streams or make any videos at home or anything like that. So let me tell you a little bit about what happened today, guys. I went to meet with a owner of a big weapons manufacturer here in China. And when I say weapons manufacturer, hold on just a second, guys. I really need to check this out. It looks like the hotel I'm here at is having like a convention for lesbians or something. There's some sort of party going on next door, and it's all girls. And I'm wondering if they're having like I don't know, a convention or something. Because just out of nowhere, all of these rooms around me started filling up with like random gals in duos and trios, and they suspiciously look like they're rainbow characters. So give me just a second here while I check this out. I'll let you know if I find out anything. Um, anyway, so I'll try to get back into it. Yeah, so I popped open the door and then just like randomly, like all these gals started showing up in the rooms around me, and I'm like, hey, wait a good goddamn minute with them. Yes, I am enjoying my travels. I'm gaining wisdom on the trip, and the magic is really so early on. It's amazing to me because we're only in day 11, and typically this type of thing doesn't start to happen until the second trimester. So after you've done a good 30 days or a month, a good lunar cycle, and you're working on your second lunar cycle in the Magical Challenge, typically I've noticed over the years that I've promoted it among my students and with myself. I've always noticed that it seems to fire off more in the second and third trimester. But this time, I don't know what's going on, man. But it's firing off big right now. So, like I said, I went to a meet. I got a scheduled with this guy. He's a pretty big deal, and I went over to his office today with the wife and the kids. And I had been wanting in the beginning couple of days of the Magical Challenge, I had been wanting a cigar, and I was going to get one and then hold it in reserve until I felt like some of the tasks I had set out to do were met, and then I was going to smoke that cigar. And one of the ones I really like are these Romeo e Juliets, right? And so when I walked into his office, the first thing this guy does is like, "Hey, grab a seat." Um, he pops open a box of Cubans and he's like, "Would you like one of these?" And I'm like, "Of course I'd like one of those." And so he hands it over to me, and we fire up a couple of these habanos, um, Hecko in Cuba. And so, yeah, so the universe just started rewarding me right off the top. We fired up our cigars and we sat there and chatted for like I don't even know how long, like 2 or 3 hours, just puffing on our cigars and looking at all of the wonderful products that his company has created over the years. They've been in business for like 30 plus, maybe 40 years, and I've known about them for about 30 years. And so it's really kind of a dream come true. In addition to that, he's branching out into other things now, like MREs. They're doing some MREs and stuff, but he's also making his own imported little coffees that he's m- m- yeah, importing the beans and then manufacturing the product. And so it's a single pouch, the type that comes in its own the beans in a filter, and then you set it on the cup and then boil it up. And so now they're marketing these, right? Coffee solves everything. So this product is not available to the public yet. It's one of the things they're doing, and I'm looking for ways that I can cooperate with his company because I've been interested in doing it for a while. It takes a pretty big investment, and it used to be a lot easier, like say 10, 15 years ago, because I've tried before. I've talked with their marketing managers and stuff, but things are a lot tougher, not only in China but like worldwide now. So there are difficulties, but no difficulty can't be overcome. So one of the other things they manufacture are camping supplies, and uh, I've worked in collaboration with Coleman in the past. I did a summer program with them with the Boy Scouts, and then promoting their product, their master class product that's manufactured in Japan. And so I did that. I did a whole ad campaign, and I used my children, because my children are models. So my children helped me, assisted me in the ad campaign, like doing the advertisements and stuff, video advertisements and print media advertisements. But so right, nice, yeah, showing me that I'm live. Good to see you, Miss Mary Moon. I'm talking about the Magical Challenge and the kind of things that are just firing off right now. So one of their other product lines is called APOC, for apocalypse, right? So we got the APOC, and this is the coffee. When I left his office today, he gave me a couple of boxes of these coffees. So coffee supply, really good stuff. Additionally, uh, it's I don't know if you guys know Jet Li, the movie star from the kung fu movies. You're probably familiar with Jackie Chan, but Jet Li, uh, I was I was working to cooperate with Jet Li on a line of products that were kung fu clothing that were marketed at Adidas, and it was called Taiji something, Taiji Zen, I believe is what they called it. but it didn't last very long. It lasted like one season and it wasn't popular, so it wasn't successful. But this is a similar type idea. It's a series of sports clothing and then safe weapons. Like I don't know if you guys know much about martial arts, but there's an art called kendo where you use a bamboo sword to mock fight. And so the program that they're working on is kind of like a Boy Scouts slash martial program for young people, like summer camp types things where they'll get a uniform and then they'll train in various weapons and they'll learn about the history of various weapons from different countries, like melee weapons, and they're building a resort, and there's all kinds of things tied in with it, and then there's the coffee products, MRE style uh, storable foods for like the adults that are interested in this kind of thing. Yeah, so the God of War has been taking an interest in my magical challenge. Yes, that's right, Mary. So when I met with him. We had a great meeting. He took me to lunch, and we drank a bunch of Chinese wine, like high dollar Chinese wine, and we were smoking cigars. And it was just so right up my alley, and so wonderful to meet with old school Chinese folks that really get it. Like they really get it when they're engaging in a collaborative business project. Like the first thing that happens is the high quality wines and cigars come out. And I'm an old school guy like that. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate a good cognac. I can appreciate a good cigar. Yeah, so something like Bruce Lee. And I'll show you one of the products. So these aren't available to the public yet. This is actually the third generation of these uh, weapons that they've created. And I was on board with the first generation and I tried to promote it, but it wasn't very good, honestly. And so I wasn't super motivated to like, but the second and third generation, I liked the second generation too, but the third generation of swords has really come along, and they do everything. They do the swords, and it's a soft sword, and yeah, yeah, do so, man. Um, and so it's a soft sword, and we train kids with these to fight each other like kendo style, but it's a lot safer than kendo, so you can start them at a much younger age. And while the quality of these new blades from the company are just dynamite, and so there are a couple of new names that are coming along with it, and so they're the genuine sword weapons and stuff are really high dollar items. Like they do pocket knives and they do camping stuff and stuff like that. Because in China you can't own guns, right, or use guns, but you can get nice daggers and swords and sabers and stuff that are all from various historical lines like Germany and England. But this is the top company. Well, it's probably the number two company in China, but it's probably like number four, number five, like internationally, because they do a lot of international work too. And they've done a few movies where they did like all of the manufacturing for the movie. They did some of the swords in Lord of the Rings. So you could see the level of big wigs that we're talking here, like really good people. But I've always been behind this particular company because it has a relationship with the tradition of kung fu that I learned in America and that I've been doing my whole life. So it's internal Chinese martial arts, and it has classical weapons training. There are 18 different weapons that you train with, but the ones we focus on are the for development of the kids are the sword and the staff and stuff. But for the safe weapons, they have the swords, and then there's a set of armor. And so it's it's kind of a whole it's kind of a whole philosophy behind it, that was started with the Qianlong Huangdi, the one of the Chinese emperors that is famously known as Huangdi. And so he supposedly uh, battled these 18 beast tribes here in China and drove them out of China. They were people that were very devolved spiritually and had been mixing very closely with animals. And so they had, it was a primeval time in China's history. And so they had morphed themselves where they had somewhat chimeric forms. And the human form in its natural state, according to Chinese Taoism, is the highest expression of universal energy that's working towards developing itself. And the next level, of course, is to become a Shen, which means a transcended human being, where you've coalesced your heavenly energies inside you, and after the transition of physical death, you become a spiritual immortal. So the Shens, um, similar to like entering the Feywild or the Feyworld in Irish legend. Um, okay, so just to break it down, that's the basic idea. But at the human level, we work on uh, similar to the Japanese idea of Bushido, is that, but in the Bushido, it's mostly classified into a warrior class. But in Huangdi, the Yellow Emperor's uh, internal guide to medicine, and in his classical teaching system, he calls it the Wenwu Chuncai, or the way of the scholar warrior. So it was taught 1,000 years ago, and for 1,000 years, that the highest level of human development in a balanced way of physical sports and activities, martial discipline, and scholarly discipline. So there was an entire regimen of the four great classics of Chinese literature and reading and writing, but then combined with that, you balance it with martial arts and other outdoor arts like camping and hunting and horseback riding and swimming and all of these other things that make you healthy and strong. And so it's always been my vision from the very beginning to integrate that into my own life, right? To be a competent martial artist as well as a scholar in literature. Um, I have seen the Terracotta Warriors, but that was a long time ago, Jeff, maybe 15 or 20 years ago when I first got here. Um, but yeah, that's the guy. The guy who was buried with the Terracotta Warriors, that's the Yellow Emperor. And that's the original template of Chinese culture. That's Huangdi. And so it's a combination of spiritual studies and literary studies, but then at the same time doing Qigong and martial arts essentially for your development. And it's supposed to be taught to young people, right? You get them started at a young age, and all of it coincides with what I've learned and understood from the very beginnings of studying Chinese culture and the people that I met with at a young age and that trained me and that I trained with and stuff. So it's really dynamite to start up another 100-day magical challenge, and then bam, the universe just starts firing off all of these magical connections that I've been trying to make for 30 years. And I don't know why it's this round. Maybe because I've invited other people on the dark mirror here, the platform of the internet. So it's going global. So maybe that's a part of it. Maybe the universe is like, due to the fact that you've invited others from the stream and in the universal current. Yeah. You see that? Are we still connect? Give me a yo if you can hear me. See if we connect back up. Is that a watchword? I didn't even know that was a watchword. So, um, if we are connected, give me a yo out there in Happy Land, Mary. That would help out a lot. I'll keep rapping with you guys. It's loading now for me. It's frozen. Chinese dinner internet again. Sad, sad. Let me know if we're connected again, guys. Um, okay, back. Gonna clean something. Okay, have fun, Mary. I think we are connected again, so I'll just wrap this up because it looks like the trolls are interfering with the stream, but that's okay. Let them do what they will do, and I'll just keep doing good magic. Good. Thank you for that, Monsieur Tiedrick. Thank you for that, Mary. I appreciate that. Free gift from God. No, free gift from God. I can see your comments there, but no, I've never imagined that I'm on the wrong path, because I'm not. The universe pulls you towards the very best path for you to fulfill. I'm here to fulfill a mission. Obviously, God sent me into this material sphere. I chose the set of circumstances that I'm involved with. I was just listening to Adam's Quest by Poke Runyon, Master Magi Poke Runyon, and he was giving the dissertation of the 31st path on the Tree of Life when you're moving from Malkuth to Had. And I was just listening to that this morning, and I had been shuffling my tarot cards, and Judgment kept popping up. And I'm like, Judgment, oh wow, what's up with this? And I'm listening to Poke Runyon in the background talk about Judgment, the 31st path of the Tree of Life from Malkuth to Had. And I went into Hephaestus's workshop where they're pounding out all of the swords and knives and daggers and ironworks. And this guy is the living embodiment of Hephaestus, right? God of the furnace, of the forge, right? And so I'm working with uh, craftsmen and artisans right within the workshop, and all of the magical connections are coming about. And it's only day 11 of the 100-day magical challenge, and I'm like, wow, by the end of this 100-day magical challenge, yeah, do your good magic, Miss Marion. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you in the abodes of the future, my dear, and things are getting exciting. So just by day 11, within the first trimester here, the baby's already stirring and it's starting to be born. And it made me recollect a story that I told my son just the other day when we were out in the harbor of Innsmouth, right? And the mother Hydra and the father Dagon were rising from their watery depths to salute and greet me here in Old Tartaria. And how could I say this? People dispute whether or not a pregnancy and a fetus, whether or not it's a being or not, whether or not it's alive. And I can give you firsthand evidence and documentation that life is early, like around the 6 week mark. By the time, I don't know if it happens at the immediately at the time of conception or not, but I know that by the 6 week mark there is a living being, a star seed inside of that baby and growing and wanting to emerge into the world. I could tell you a spiritual story about that. And so my wife had never contemplated. I don't want to get too much into the jargon, the medical jargon of what's going on with like Roe v. Wade and stuff, because it's not that essential, and I don't need to have my channel shut down about it. But I'm here to tell you firsthand that there is a star seed at 6 weeks that I know of. Maybe that's the exact date, and maybe that's why it's so important that we bring this spiritual message forward, right? But okay, so I'm not going to share that spiritual story right now, because I want to flesh it out, and I want it to be proper in its timing and stuff. Um, okay, free gift from God says she has been subscribed for a while. I've never really seen you comment on the videos or participate in live chats, but welcome, welcome one and all. Um, the teaching of Tao and of magic always takes the low ground, and all are welcome, and all are. So yeah, the Tao is supposed to be like the Tao is the mother of all oceans, they say. And so in order to be the mother of all oceans and of all streams and rivers, the Tao, its feminine principle, has to place itself below all other waters. Isn't that interesting? And now this is from the Tao Te Ching, and this is from ancient Taoist teaching. In order for the Tao to be the great ocean and the great mother of all rivers, she must place herself below sea level, below all other um, streams and oceans and rivers so that they will flow into her. Now, how would that be possible in any other way, right? This ancient great teaching, the truth of it is self-explanatory, it's self-evident, is what they say. So, as the mother of all streams and all oceans and all rivers, she places herself below them so that they can flow into her, right? So that in and of itself, I should give a mention out to Eric Dubay, because that's fascinating that I've mentally and spiritually made that connection to this ancient teaching within Tao, and I'll have to flesh that out and do a little more research so that I can pop that in his direction. But yeah, a little shout out to Monsieur Eric Dubay out there in Happy Land, that the ancient, the great ancient teaching confirms what he promotes, right? Or that he researches this sea level plane idea. I got the door open here because I was puffing on my tobacco and I don't want the room to be smoky. So I'm gonna do a quick check on the door there, make sure everything's um, cop- copacetic out there in Happy Land. Well, all right, guys. I don't want to share too much with you because a part of the 100-day magical challenge is to know, to dare, and to be silent. So, with some of these things, especially your big ideas, you don't want to tell anybody about what you've got going on. So, I thought I would share that one little piece with you because it's coming to fruition quickly, and that's always an exciting time. And in some ways, sharing your ideas and stuff with your family and your friends, at least at that level, can help garner their support. It can also set up their resistance towards the idea and their theories, their fears and concerns and worries. And so you have to be careful of that, because in some cycles and in some situations, the naysayers are, they have a lot of fear and worry and anxiety that they will transfer to you. And then sometimes too, they're jealous of your success. And so that's the part of being silent in magic, is because you don't want to drum up their fears, worries, and anxieties and then have those as an additional burden when you're already challenging yourself with the magic. And at the same time, you don't want them to be totally aware of your master plan, because you don't want them thwarting you, right? You don't want them interfering with the development of you bringing your magic to fruition. So that's why there's a caveat there, to prevent. So some things need to be kept secret. And as an aside, Miss Mary Moon, just to mention you and a little shout out to you, um, I like your dreads. They are very eerie, right? But you don't have dreads, do you? I was looking at your hair and I was like, it looked like you just needed to run a good brush through it, but you have really beautiful hair. Um, Very, very beautiful. Okay, so free gift from the god says, "Thank you, Mr. Frank. I only asked because doubt is something I struggle with, not knowing what to do. Situations where you think you're doing right, but ended up paying a price for that same action." Um, um, No, I mean, I don't struggle with doubts and fears anymore. I'm almost 50, so I'm pretty solid in my commitment to what I've been doing, like my magic, my kung fu, my career path, all of those I am well entrenched in. And I'm sure there's been doubts and misgivings from time to time about certain things, this, that, or the other, but I've never doubted the magic, not even for a moment. I've never doubted the Tao. I've never doubted the cosmos and providence's hand in helping guide me towards my fate and my destiny. I've never doubted those things. I've never doubted God. I've challenged him a few times, and I've made direct mistakes in my life, most definitely. But one thing you can be sure of is that there is a spiritual reality, and we are being guided by the great concourse of the stars, right? So the North Star in our cosmic egg is the highest point, and it's the seat of greatest divine authority in our spiritual hierarchy. And as that descends down into the material sphere, and we realize it as that, as we arrive at fruition and manifestation in this realm, then if you are humble and sincere, then that reality will become apparent to you. And the truth is self evident. It doesn't need me to believe in it, right? This is one of the contentious elements that I have with other people who are wayfarers in the way. It's like they say, do you believe this, that, or the other thing? That's all human opinion. That's all conjecture, right? And hearsay. Whereas that's not something I need to do because I have knowledge of God and I live in God, and me and my Father are one, right? So once you're inside the Godhead and manifesting as a divine child of the one true source, then there's no room for belief or disbelief, right? uh, any doubt or anxiety on my part will not disprove God, right? Just like the sea level plane that we engage on, right? This great earth plane, the revelation of the realm. And if you need more information on that, then just check out Eric Dubay, because he's the most eloquent speaker on the subject and has the greatest depth of research into the current situation of our realm and the revelation of the realm. That's not my forte. My forte is the combination of the way of the scholar warrior. So that's not something that I've ever doubted. That's a part of my path. And I'm not the greatest warrior and I'm not the greatest scholar, but I'm a clever combination of the two. And that's where my angle comes in on all of it. So I'm gonna do a real quick check here on the ideas room because it looks like Russian Lad just entered the room, ladies and gentlemen. So everybody, please give a warm welcome to Russian Lad. Good to see you, man. He says, "Hey, man, hope the magic is still alive within you." Oh yeah, it's firing off like fucking a grand finale, and we're only in day 11, and the synchronicities are just firing up, and there's such great crystal clarity, like just today was just huge, man. It was a dynamite day of magic. I told the whole story. I'm not going to go back through the entire thing again, but I met with a really high level master of a corporation that does a lot of good magic, man, and like really high level type magic stuff is going on. And he gave my son this beautiful Han Dynasty uniform that is hand embroidered with clouds, and it's a three-piece uniform set. It's got a top like a magical robe. It's all in black, and it's got embroidered clouds on. Of course, it's got the company name because we're he's working to promote this idea. And when he started talking to me about the idea, I'm like, man, that's what I've been training for my whole life, is to get on board with an idea like this. And these are like things, these are like visions from my childhood that I've been working towards. And once you start participating in a cooperative event like the 100-day magical challenge, it's really when things like this start to happen. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? You make magic happen and you do good magic. So it's really exciting. I want to share it all with you guys, but a part of it is to be silent. And so the bigger events, until they start to come to fruition, right? Until they start to manifest in the material plane, then I'm going to be wary of talking about them, especially online, because it's such a public venue and a public format. But what else did I want to share with you? There was definitely something, but I have lost sight of it now. That's what happens if you get involved with too much chit chatting with the ideas room, then some of your ideas get sidetracked. But that doesn't matter because as soon as I end the stream, I'll remember, and even maybe before. Doubt is inherent. astrologically for mutable signs. In the chart, the more mutable the sign you are, the more doubt you have. No, I don't have dreads. I was kidding. Yeah, I thought you were kidding because you have extremely beautiful hair. And I had long, beautiful hair like that when I was young too, Mary. But these days I like to keep it a little shorter. Funny thing is, right before you posted that video, I was reviewing some old pictures of me when I was like in my 20s, when I grew my hair out really, really long. And I thought, oh, it's so nice to have beautiful golden hair like that. And then bam, up pops a video of Mary's beautiful hair. And I was like, you dog. Right. Yeah, I've shown a few pictures. Um, Very similar to yours in coloration. Yours has copper and gold, but yours looks like it has a myriad of beautiful metals in it, right? That's a pure manifestation of true gold there, Mary. Yeah. So two documents that I've been working on since I've been traveling and doing the 100-day magical challenge out here in Happy Land. I got to get rid of the smoke. If my wife comes back and catches me smoking in the room, there'll be hell to pay, right? There'll be like Mr. T, hell to pay. So one of the things I've been working on is feeling is the secret, and this is really so magical. And I wanted to share with you guys on day 9 of the magical challenge. I had had a dream that I was flying in circles in Happy Land, right? So I was in Dreamland, and I woke up and I was flying among with a bunch of other spirits, and we were flying in circles, and I remembered the concourse, the feeling of creating a vortex with all these other entities that had joined me in the magical challenge. And I'm like, wow, I could really feel like the spiritual energy of you guys who are participating with me. And there was this great concourse of energy. And I was like, wow, this is dynamite. This is so much fun. And I jumped off the vortex, right? The flow. We were in this giant flow of just beings flying. And I thought, wow, that was interesting. And so I jumped off the flow and bam, I appeared back in my body. And so I jumped up and I went out to the balcony here and to get some morning qigong air, and oh God, my battery's dying, guys. As soon as I start talking about this high level magical stuff, I run out. Anyway, the synchronicities were three. So I was flying in Dreamland, and I jumped out and I returned to my body after astrally traveling with all of these spirits, this great concourse of energy and these little voices and stuff like "We are one," the magic, and all these different little one-liners that were going on between us. Anyway, and I go out to the balcony, and I'm on the fifth level here, the fifth floor, and I look out the window, and there's hundreds of dragonflies flying in the air, right? And I look out at them, and I'm like, wow, was I just flying with all of those dragonflies? But they were just flying erratically, right? They weren't forming a vortex. And so I put my E out into the sky, and I started concentrating, pointing my finger and putting my E at the center of the dragonflies and willing them to form a vortex. And they wouldn't do it. And a voice in my mind and something that had come to me from Neville Goddard's Feeling is the Secret, some of the documentation that I've been working on. Two documents. This is one of them. I'll tell you about the other one in a minute. But is that you can't try. There should be no effort, right? And Crowley says this as well, right? That do not lust for results. And so I'm pointing my finger and I'm like, okay, I'll just give up and I'll put my E out there, my magical intent for the dragonflies to start to swirl. And I held it there for about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. And as soon as I let go and relax, a few of the dragonflies did it, right? Like they joined in a circle and they swirled for a minute. And I'm like, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. But they wouldn't all do it because there were hundreds of them. The sky was filled with dragonflies. And I'm like, yeah, forget about it. Who cares? We'll go on with my day. I don't need to get all these dragonflies to swirl into a vortex that might, fire up some bells and stuff, might alert others to my presence here. Anyway, later in the day, we were down by the shore and we were going to visit a tower at the Port of Innsmouth out here, right? I already shot a video on it, a beautiful lighthouse and a tower, and this entire European old district here in Dalian. But I walked out by the shore and the seagulls were swirling in a vortex. They were all flying together and fighting, and people were throwing them food. But they were all right off the edge of this one cliff and flying in a vortex. And I looked out at them and I could feel that my spirit had been traveling with them in the night while I was sleeping. And I realized the interconnectedness between it all, about seeing things in dreamland and flying with the spirits, and then attempting to interact with the dragonflies on that same level as a magical connection with them, and then seeing the seagulls do it. And the seagulls were in this great, just lusty vortex, right? You could feel their energy, you could feel their hearts beating and their wings beating and their eyes shining, right? And like the interaction of in the animal kingdom, they have a group spirit and they all interact with each other from like one spirit can float on hundreds of seagulls and it will jump between all of them. And I heard them say it again, the great spirit of unity, that we are one, and it was almost like this such a high level of yin yang interaction. It was very sensual, very sexual, even very visceral, and a little bit combative as well. And I thought, there it is, there, that lust for life, that the number 8 trump in the major arcana, and how Crowley really depicted it very extremely high level. And I thought, wow, what fantastic magic to be engaged in, and what a great adventure. Um, so there you have it, man. So that's what I liked it when I was young. I called that bringing back the golden coin from dreamland. So when I first started studying Robert Anton Wilson's Prometheus Rising, he gives you, in chapter 1 of the Mercurial Meetups, I talked about it, that he gives you the idea of looking for a quarter or a coin with your magic, right, with your reticular activating system. And so when I would go into dreamland, I would program myself that I was looking for a golden coin. And then when I found that golden coin, I grab it and I'm going to apport it back into the material sphere and wake up with the golden coin in my hand. Right. And so that was one of my early magical challenges that I engaged in on a personal level. And I don't often share this openly or in the public sphere with other people. But so in my early journals, in my mid 20s, mid 30s, that kind of thing, part of making magic happen for me was bringing back the golden coins from dreamland, right, from the spiritual sphere, and then outporting them into the material sphere, like legitimately making that happen. And I've done it. But I realized also that requires a high level of gathering your magical chi and then manifesting it into one of those gold coins. It's it's draining and it's kind of a waste of time, is the ultimate takeaway that I get from that. Yeah. 可以可以可以。
因为那个晚上夜比较晚了，
哦，
然后请您这个要不然把门可不可以关上？
对不起对不起，
没关系，
会影
没关系。
响别人是吧？
我担心，因为目前现在还没有人打电话过来，
哦，
但是我担心一会儿，因为现在马上快12点，
是是
快11点了，
是吗？
快11点
我
了，
没发现，
实在不好意思。
对不起，没事没事。
好，你中文真棒。
哦，还可以，谢谢啊。All right, guys. So that was house cleaning telling me that I was talking a little loud because I had the front door open, that I might influence the other guests. And I can understand that because it's midnight here in Old Tartaria, and here I am scrying from the dark mirror, with my little room and my door open. And yeah, that makes sense. So I got a little bit excited there. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna wind it up here because like house cleaning said, I shouldn't be uh too loud. But I want to touch base with the chat room here because there's a lot of great people out there in Happy Land. So yeah, I wanted to get you guys up to date on what's been going on with me and like how the magic is just really firing off these days. And keep at it, man, because it starts to happen quick, and it's going to happen even faster. 100 days is nothing, and doing 100 days of good magic is really going to show you the power of magic and its infallibility, and whatever you wish for you're going to get, and it could be an easy simple practice, a simple prayer that you repeat each day, an invocation, an adoration, hell, just waking up and thinking about magic and thinking about your connection with source and your selfless service to the divine origin, right? How, whatever form that takes for you, whatever pantheon of gods you subscribe to, or if it's the one God of Yahweh or whatever it is, right? As long as it's not a dark demonic God, which it could be, and you're going to get the same results. I mean, you could put yourself into a real hellish situation of damnation if that's the way you want to go. But I don't suggest it. I don't suggest the left hand path or down into the clip off. You get pulled down there enough as it is without trying to get down there yourself. So seek the angels for guidance and protection, and maybe the fairies or the elementals, whatever level you're on. If you're a neophyte, begin with the earth sphere, right? And just embrace this grand reality, this cosmic expression of manifestation in the material sphere, and get down to magic, husking grain and preparing food, cleaning house and painting walls, whatever it is for you, doing kung fu out in the yard, so on and so forth. All of that good stuff, all of that is magic. And I'm just checking the ideas room real quick to make sure that I've said hello to everyone. So, greetings to you. Simon's out there. Wow, good to see you, Simon. Russian lad, good to see you, sir. Yeah, assuming your dreams aren't full of nonsensical things. Making sure I'm caught up, guys. Yeah, Simon, I will definitely beam you up into Old Tartaria, man. We can always use more Caucasians over here teaching and enjoying the world. All right, guys. I think I'm caught. Let me make sure I'm reading through all the comments, and I want to make sure that I say hello to everyone. Simon's out there, Miss Mary Moon, Monsieur Tiedrick, Russian Lad, everybody that's tuned in. Chris A, if you tune in later and you see the show, good to see you, man. Much love to all of you guys. Thanks for participating in this journey with me, guys. 100 days of good magic. Yeah, and I'll get back to you real soon, but I can feel that my wife and kids are going to come back soon, and if they catch me live streaming, they'll be like, there'll be hell to pay. So I just wanted to give you guys some updates. Sandra Sue out there in Happy Land, if you tune in and watch the show later, Diane, Sasquatch Roadkill, anyone that I'm not thinking of, make sure you leave a comment, say hello, give it the thumbs up, guys. All that happy horse shit. Citizens, the corporations. Oh, and interesting too, because I was out by the dockside near Liverpool town, and he always went down to the thief and the vagabond. Everyone knew him as Dublin O'Shea. Some say he came from Killarney. I was having another drink, so I had some drinks with lunch. I think I hear people in the hall, so I'm going to cut this short. But yeah, there's Farewell to Nova Scotia. There's a good song. And I thought about that, and I thought about you, Mary, in the song Farewell to Nova Scotia. So I'm going to learn to sing that one. There were two songs on my list. I'm going to do a karaoke night, and we're going to sing the Irish pub tunes real soon, guys. Probably under the full moon when I get back to Beijing. So when I'm back in old Twilight Zone, old Peking, we will meet up again. But I will be keeping in touch with you guys from day to day. Oh, good God! Now here, Atlantean Neo is in the chat room. Good to see you, man. But I have got to run, and so this is the bottom of the hour and the end of the live stream, guys. Keep doing your magic, make magic happen. As above, so below. We will meet again on those golden shores in the abodes of the future. Until then, 再见 and keep in touch.